The Last Call. Part 1. Emily sat alone in her dimly lit living room, the glow from her laptop screen reflecting off the rain-speckled window. The storm outside had been raging for hours, thunder growling low in the distance. She rubbed her temples and sighed, the deadline for her graphic design project looming ominously. "It's just another late night," she muttered, fingers tapping tiredly on the keyboard. Her phone lay face down on the coffee table, silent and forgotten amid the chaos of papers and sketches. Suddenly, the shrill ring cut through the quiet. Emily jumped, heart skipping a beat. "Who's calling at this hour?" she whispered, reaching for the phone with trembling hands. The caller ID showed an unknown number. "Hello," she answered cautiously. A low, distorted voice crackled through the speaker. "You don't know me, Emily, but I know you." Emily's grip tightened. "Who is this? What do you want?" There was a pause, the kind that presses heavy on the chest. "They're watching," the voice said, chilling and urgent. "Look outside." Her eyes darted to the window. The street was slick with rain, glistening under the dim glow of street lamps. No one was there. Just the empty road stretched into the darkness. "There's nobody out there," Emily said shakily. "It's just the storm. Not outside." "Inside," the voice whispered. Emily's breath cold. Her gaze swept the room. Shadows clung to the corners, but nothing moved. "Stop messing with me!" she said, trying to steady her voice. "This isn't funny." A soft beep indicated a new text message. She looked at the screen. There inside, the hairs on her neck stood on end. "No," she whispered. "No, that's not possible." The front door creaked, a long, slow groan breaking the silence. Emily spun toward the sound, heart pounding. "Who's there?" Her voice cracked as she shouted into the empty house. Silence answered her. She forced herself to breathe, inching toward the door. The storm raged on, rain pelting the windows like whispered threats. Her mind raced, memories flickering, unbidden. When she was a child, her parents had vanished without explanation one stormy night much like this. Police had found no clues, only her screams echoing through the empty house. Emily wiped a tear that had escaped down her cheek. "This has to be a nightmare," she told herself. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. "You can't hide." Panic clenched her chest like a fist. She stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. It scraped harshly against the floor. Suddenly, the power cut out. The room plunged into darkness, thick and suffocating. Emily fumbled for her phone, her only source of light. The screen illuminated her wide, terrified eyes. "Who are you?" she demanded, voice shaking. No answer. Just silence. Then, a whisper so close, it felt like it was right behind her, caused her to spin around. "You're not alone." Her breath caught. The air grew colder. Emily knew, with bone-deep certainty, that the voice was right. The Last Call. Part 2, English version. Emily's heart pounded as she stood frozen in the dark. The words, "You're not alone," echoed in her mind. But no one was there, or so she hoped. The rain hammered relentlessly against the windows. She fumbled for the light switch, but the power was out. Only the faint glow from her phone screen offered any comfort. She took a shaky breath and forced herself to move. The door was still slightly ajar, creaking softly with each gust of wind. Emily swallowed hard and edged toward it, each step heavier than the last. Her hand trembled as she reached out to close it, but before she could touch the knob, a sudden noise stopped her. A whisper, almost too soft to hear. "Emily." She froze. The voice was familiar, yet distant, like a memory she couldn't quite grasp. "Mom!" she whispered, her voice cracking. Silence. Then, the unmistakable sound of footsteps upstairs, slow, deliberate, coming closer. Panic surged through her veins. She backed away from the door, heart hammering wildly. Her phone buzzed again. A message this time. "Don't run. Face it." Emily's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to scream, to run, to hide. But where? The house felt like a trap, each shadow hiding secrets. Suddenly, her laptop screen flickered on by itself. A photo appeared. A faded family portrait. In it, a young Emily smiled between her parents. But something was wrong. Her mother's eyes were black voids. Emily dropped the phone. Tears streamed down her face. "Why are you doing this?" she cried. "What do you want from me?" A chilling laugh filled the room, echoing from the walls. The message appeared again on her phone. It's time to remember. Her mind spiraled back to that night. The accident. The screams. The silence that followed. She knew she couldn't ignore it any longer. With trembling hands, Emily grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and headed upstairs. Each step creaked under her weight, the house groaning like a living thing. At the end of the hallway, her childhood bedroom door stood slightly open. She pushed it gently and stepped inside. The room was exactly as she remembered, except the air was thick with something unspoken, a presence lurking just beyond sight. On her desk lay a small, worn box. She opened it carefully, revealing old letters and photographs, fragments of a past she had buried deep. Her fingers brushed over a letter addressed to her, written in her mother's shaky handwriting. "Emily, if you're reading this, know that the truth is darker than you think. The curse that haunts our bloodline is real. You must face it, or be consumed." Emily's breath hitched. She clutched the letter, heart pounding. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on. The room brightened, but the feeling of dread didn't fade. Her phone buzzed one final time. "Welcome home, Emily." The last call. Part 3. English version. Emily stood frozen as the lights flickered back on. The room felt brighter, but the weight of dread hung thicker than ever. The message on her phone still glowed. "Welcome home, Emily." She clutched the device tightly, feeling as if the walls themselves were closing in. Her breath came in short gasps. She wanted to scream, to run, but her legs refused to move. Instead, she sank to the floor, knees pulled close, clutching the letter from her mother. Her mind raced through fragmented memories, snippets of laughter, shadows lurking. The night, everything changed. Suddenly, a soft tapping sounded at the window. Emily's head jerked up, eyes wide with terror. A figure stood outside, vague, shadowy, barely visible through the rain streaks. It raised a hand, slowly tracing the outline of her face through the glass. Emily's heart pounded in her chest like a drum. The figure's eyes blacked voids, like her mother's in the photo locked onto hers. She scrambled backward, knocking over a lamp. Light spilled across the room, but when she looked up again, the figure was gone. The silence that followed was suffocating. Her phone buzzed once more. You can't escape the past. Emily knew then what she had to do. She couldn't run anymore. Gathering every ounce of courage, she stood and headed toward the basement door. The final piece of the puzzle awaited there, the source of the curse, the truth buried in darkness. The stairs creaked under her weight as she descended into the cold, damp basement. Shadows danced in the flickering flashlight beam. At the far end, a weathered trunk sat beneath the furnace. Emily hesitated, heart pounding violently. She opened the trunk, revealing dusty books, strange symbols painted on parchment, and a small wooden box sealed with an ancient lock. With trembling hands, she broke the seal. Inside was a Januha mother's handwriting, detailed rituals, warnings, and a desperate plea. The darkness comes from within our blood. To break free, you must confront it. Only then will you find peace. Emily's eyes burned with tears and determination. Suddenly, cold air swirled around her. A whisper echoed from the shadows. "Fasimi!" Steeling herself, Emily stepped forward. The last call. Final part. Emily's flashlight trembled in her hand as she stepped deeper into the basement shadows. The whisper repeated, "Face me." Her pulse thundered in her ears. The air grew colder, heavier. Shapes began to emerge, dark, shifting forms coalescing into a figure standing before her. The face was pale, hollow eyes staring into her soul. "Why?" Emily demanded, voice breaking. "Why haunt me? Why my family?" The figure's lips curled into a sad smile. Because you carry the blood. The curse chooses its vessel. Emily swallowed her fear. What do you want from me? To remember. To accept. To break the cycle. Memories flooded back, her parents' desperate rituals, the forbidden secrets, the sacrifices made in darkness to keep the curse contained. Emily's resolve hardened. Tell me how! The figure extended a hand, and a cold wind surged around her, pulling her into visions, flashes of pain, sorrow, and anger from generations past. Only by confronting the darkness within can you free yourself, the voice intoned. Tears streamed down Emily's face, but she stood tall. I'm ready! The shadows recoiled, dissolving into the cold air. Light returned to the basement, warm and welcoming. Her phone buzzed one last time. You are free. Emily exhaled deeply, the weight lifting from her chest. She climbed the stairs, each step lighter than before. As she emerged into the calm dawn, the storm had passed. The world outside was quiet renewed. She looked back once, then turned toward the rising sun. It was a new beginning.